Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, the one, the only George Harris here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
Hello, is this D&D Roofing?
Yes, it is. How may I help you?
You did such a great job on my roof. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner.
Oh, can I speak to your supervisor?
Sure.
How may I help you?
I love your work. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner. We're all owners. Well, that's why at D&D we work so hard to keep your home safe and sound.
Oh, no wonder.
D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal. Local, employee-owned, here for you.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room at the Bank Saloon. Coverage of the 2021 Nevada legislative session is brought to you by Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. Ahern Rentals is ready for your next project. Liberty Dental Plan, making members shine one smile at a time. And Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're always pleased to welcome back to the program George Harris. He is the chairman of Nevadans for Sound Government, also the publisher and editor of Liberty Watch magazine. Pleasure to have you on the program, sir.
Sam, thanks for having me. My goodness, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. So you just recently got back from Mar-a-Lago, where you got to visit with former President Trump. Describe the scene for us.
Well, it was 2 days before they had their little RNC meeting. There was about 40 of us, a lot of former ambassadors, and we just talked about how we're gonna fix the problems of the country and how we have to learn to play the game the way the Democrats are playing it. So Republicans will start to do ballot harvesting. You know, the rules have been changed, so we can't whine about it. We just have to, they moved the cheese and we have to figure a way to get back our cheese.
What was the mood of the former president?
Oh, phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal. Very well focused. The event was great. His speech to us was great. He spoke for about an hour and 10 minutes, and some of the stuff I can't talk to you about what he said, but he's very optimistic, and you know, he thinks we have a great country.
5 years ago, you were helping him with fundraisers in Nevada. What do you see as the difference, if any, between him 5 years ago and him today?
Today, much more polished. Fundraising, probably back then, let's say it was at 30%. Now it's at 100%. Let me tell you, the key players in that room can put about $500 million together in about a weekend.
Do you get the sense that he wants to run again for president, or just wants to be in a position to help run the Republican Party?
I didn't get the sense for either. I didn't get the sense that he wants to run again. I didn't get the sense that he wants to be the king of the party. The sense I got is that he wants to hunt for quality people that can push forward an agenda to make our country successful over the millennium.
When you look at the amount of money that's being invested in the country, trillions of dollars, and this started in his administration and continues with the current administration, are we not at this point a successful country because of that?
We're a very successful country, but we're allowing a very small segment of the population to try to take away our spirit, and it's not going to work. You know, in the midterms, you're going to see the Democrats are going to get swept out in the midterms, and by the way, they're not going to get swept out because there's this anger, you know, of what happened to Donald Trump or this. Everybody, you know, people are people, and people want to know what you're going to do for their pocketbook. And by the time the midterms roll around, gas will probably be about $4.50 to $4.75 a gallon, and that's what's going to sweep them out of office.
It's interesting to look at the previous election that we just went through. The numbers weren't that different on a national basis between those who voted for Joe Biden versus those that voted for Donald Trump. It could have easily swung the other direction.
Well, it could have swung the other direction. And I'm not here to sit and whine and say, you know, we were cheated or weren't cheated. They moved our cheese, and now we understand the focus is how to get our cheese back. And so we're at a philosophical, political war. I don't want anybody thinking that we're at a war. And you're going to see Republicans are going to be the best ballot harvesting group in the nation, in the world. You're going to change the rules. We're going to put those rules that you changed, and we're going to shove them down your throat.
We see on a national basis a split in both parties. You have people on the far right who, you know, made their voices heard on January 6th and not in a good way. You have people on the extreme left who've made their voices heard across the country and not necessarily in a good way. Are we seeing the splitting up of the parties into two, and can they come back together again? Or are we going to see the nonpartisans take a much bigger role in upcoming election cycles?
Well, the nonpartisans, they are not at all organized, but there are on both sides, on the left and the right, they're hunting for ways to organize the nonpartisans. But you got to remember, nonpartisans for the most part are disgruntled Republicans that left the party, and they still vote Republican. And they're pretty angry right now. They're angry that they're seeing some great things that were put in line that are just being destroyed just to destroy them. No other reason. There's no functional reason why to destroy them. You know, we have a crisis at the border, and if you can't see that, then you're not an adult, and that has to be fixed. We have, you know, not thousands, not tens of thousands. We have hundreds of thousands of kids coming over the border unaccompanied by their parents. We have now a larger problem with people coming over the border that are COVID positive folks. And it's disrupting all the people that have been waiting in line and been waiting to do it legally. And it's just a situation now we have to deal with it. We can sit and whine and talk, but we have to deal with the situation, and we have to figure out a way to resolve the immigration problem. And one of the ways to do it is what we were doing and what we should continue to do. We should have, you know, good walls make good neighbors. And my point being, if Mrs. Pelosi wants to try to attack me and say that I'm just a, you know, crazy Republican talking about this, you know, she had a fence put around the Capitol. So there's walls all around the Capitol. You can't move in and out of the Capitol right now anywhere in the Capitol without being confronted by a fence.
All right, so there's a whole host of issues that go along with that, and one of the ones that I think is interesting is that the Biden administration has essentially continued the policies of the Trump administration with slightly different names, but I mean, it's not that different except the number of people approaching the border is far greater than it was previously. But the immigration problem needs to be resolved by Congress, and it's not going to be an immigration bill that covers every single angle. It has to be broken down into specific parts. And in this country, we need workers. And if we're going to put all this money into infrastructure, in one way or the other, the Republicans and Democrats are going to come up with a number that works for infrastructure. If we don't do something about the immigration, then who's going to do the work?
Well, Sam, look, we have a larger problem, like larger socioeconomical problem. We have a larger problem to that is that during this pandemic, you know, a lot of people lost their jobs, and we started this unemployment program, and you need to do that to help people, okay? But now the pandemic has come to an end, and it's being managed. And now you have people that won't come back to work every day, every single day, Sam. I have to deal with it. I call employees and ask to come back to work, and they said, when my unemployment runs out, I'll come back to work. And now it's so bad, we're getting to the point where we're saying, no, don't worry about it. We'll just have to find totally new people, because we've allowed these politicians who, by the way, the government's not helping anyone. Taxpayers are helping everyone. The government has no money. It's taxpayers that fund the government. So this is going to cause a lot of problems in the third and fourth quarter of this year, because of the labor issues we have, and this, even unions, people just don't want to work. They're getting more money sitting at home on unemployment than they get from when they work. So that's got to stop. If it doesn't stop, you're talking about, it can cause problems into the third quarter of 2023. So,
all right, but go back to my point.
Vision has to take place.
But go back to my point, which is that if you're going to have a massive infrastructure bill, even if it's in the billions versus the trillions, whatever the agreement ends up being, you don't have the people to do the work. Right now in northern Nevada, in the construction industry, we are so far short of people, it's stunning, and yet we have so much work that needs to be done.
Sam, that's correct, but I'm not blaming you, but it's a little.
Thank you.
It's a little disingenuous to say that there's an infrastructure bill. There's no infrastructure bill. The bill they're talking about, 80% of the bill has nothing to do with infrastructure. We have a phenomenally horrific problem with infrastructure in this country. We have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of bridges that need to be repaired or replaced. We have interstates that need to be repaired or replaced. We have inner city infrastructure that needs to be upgraded, i.e. through technological wireless systems, all this. So yeah, there's a big problem, and it's probably a $4 trillion problem. But when you look at how he's written this bill, less than 30% of that money actually goes to infrastructure.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that. What I'm saying is that Republican leadership at this point is saying we are willing to negotiate a lower number, but we are willing to negotiate on a number toward actual infrastructure, which is what you're talking about. So do you not feel...
Sam, let's both you and I take a moment and let's stop this nonsense. There's fault on both the Democrats and the Republican side. Not Democrats in the neighborhoods and Republican in the neighborhoods. These jackasses that we've elected who have done nothing, this do-nothing Congress of both Democrats and Republicans who just want to constantly fight. The people should sweep every one of them out, every single one of them, and start over and say, we are not going to put up with this nonsense anymore. But we don't have that luxury. In Nevada, I'll be frank and honest with you. We do have a good congressman in Mark Amadei who sits up there and who says, look, you guys, this is crazy. And we have a lot of good Congress people up there that are doing it on both sides of the aisle. But we need to get rid of the Congress people that are up there with their own agendas and their own narcissistic, egotistical, platforms.
Well, the way you do that is cutting off the money. So if there are people that you don't like in there, and I'm not speaking specifically about you not liking, but if the public doesn't like somebody, don't send them money. Corporations, don't send them money. What's your thought on corporations at this point, and their thoughts on terms of funding people and not funding people? It seems like that is a louder voice than we've heard in a long time.
Well, first of all, I think these corporations need to stay the hell out of politics. For the Major League basketball or for the Major League Baseball guy to sit and talk about a law in Georgia and how angry he is that someone would ask for someone's ID for them to do the most important thing in their civic life, which is vote. When I go to a Major League Baseball game and I go to the will call window to get my tickets, they require me to have an ID to get my tickets. Or for the idiot from the airline who makes the same statement, but if you get on his plane, you have to have an ID. That's how wild and crazy this has gotten. Why would you not want people who are coming to vote to have to show who they are or have to sign a piece of paper to where you could verify their signature? What is anyone afraid of to stop fraud? We're becoming a third world country. I posted something on the internet yesterday about socialism, and I said if capitalism is so bad and so horrific and socialism is so great, then why isn't everybody rushing the borders of Venezuela? Because socialism is horrific and it's not the American way of life. And I personally am going to fight socialism and communism with every bone in my body. And I'm going to stop anybody who tries to force me to do something that I know I have a right to do. It's not going to happen. And that, Sam, is the next part of this puzzle, because the extreme far left has gone off their rockers and they're out hurting people and they're out attacking people, and they're funded by corporate guys like George Soros, whose only reason he's doing this is to disrupt our monetary system so our dollar goes down so he can buy the dollar cheaper and wait 3 or 4 years and make hundreds of billions of dollars. Wake up, everybody. Understand the motivations of.
So George, one thing that I want to throw in here is that there is equal blame on the extreme right and the extreme left at this point in time. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk more after this timeout.
I can't do it. Stupid, like my mom.
We can't do anything at Mommy's because you won't pay child support.
Dad said you cheated, and he's not even sure he's my dad.
Mommy said you left both of us, so she isn't gonna let me see you.
I look just like my father.
I'm divorce attorney Marilyn York, and I may represent men, but hate has no gender, only casualties. Please, stop sacrificing your children in your war against your ex.
Hi, I'm Renee Summerhour, digital news anchor here at 7 at 7. Watch our streaming nonstop newscast immediately with your mobile phone. 7 at 7 is the new way for you to get every bit of local news you need in just 7 minutes. Breaking news, local neighborhood news, weather, and sports are just a click away. Reporters bring you all of what's happening in the Valley. From Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and more. Get every bit of local news you need from the RJ and LVRJ.com.
Serving Our Kids Foundation's mission is to serve homeless, at-risk, and food insecure children in grades K through 8 throughout Southern Nevada. During the pandemic, Serving Our Kids has seen a 42% increase in the number of children served, providing more than 4,500 meals to kids in over 100 schools weekly. Serving Our Kids is powered by community support and volunteers. To learn how you can help, visit servingourkids.org.
Hey, Dad? What are you learning? This place is great. Huh? You gotta try this.
Wow, this stuff is great. People are gonna love it.
Yes. Yes, they will.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with George Harris. He is the chairman of Nevadans for Sound Government and also publishes Liberty Watch magazine, which if you want a copy of, it's a fine magazine. Write to George at libertywatchmagazine.com and he will send you a free copy. That's George at libertywatchmagazine.com. Barbara Sagaski, your thoughts on the Central Committee's attack on her and the response of just about everybody else to that?
So you got to know your audience, okay? You got to understand what people's motivations are. Michael McDonald wants to be reelected to state chairman. He's got to have a boogeyman. There's got to be somebody he can blame for all the stuff the party hasn't been able to accomplish. Did Barbara make some horribly flawed errors? Absolutely she did. But here's the fact, Sam. Barbara doesn't have the authority to do 90% of the stuff that these people wanted her to do. She's just not constitutionally allowed to do it. Barbara can't walk up to Sam Shad and say, okay, I don't think you showed your ID, turn around and put you in handcuffs. There's no constitutionality, there's no constitution availability for her to do that. She can investigate, and then she has to turn it over to the policing forces. Do I think she made some big mistakes? Absolutely, she made some big mistakes.
For example, what kind of mistakes?
I think that she should have been more vocal, about the Democrats excluding her from the discussion during the special session. I think that was a major error on her part. But I've always found Barbara to be very thoughtful, and I've always found her to be a very conservative, a very good person. And I just don't like the way that was handled. It wasn't handled professionally. And that's the problem with our party, with the Republicans in Nevada. And let's just talk about who it is. It's the state party and it's Clark County. Washoe's ran very, very professionally by a very capable man. The 17 rural counties are ran by very good people. Clark County's ran by an idiot named David Sajak, who elected a former assemblyman who voted for the largest tax increase. Didn't elect him, he just appointed him to vice chairman. The guy wasn't even a member of the Central Committee. So you have those structural problems, but that's all going to work themselves out because the Democrats have the same problems. The Democrats got taken over by the Socialist Party. So they have the same problems we have. But you have to go through and you have to be able to say, look, there needs to be some adult supervision put in here.
Okay, let's take another break on that note. We'll be right back with George Harris after this timeout.
Tamarack Casino is giving away 2 Mercedes-Benz during the $125,000 Benz or cash giveaways. Plus, players get 5 times points on video reels every Friday. Win 2 Mercedes-Benz now through May at Tamarack Casino.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. Come visit Design Outdoor's store and backyard to see our wide selection of fire pits, barbecues, and pizza ovens, natural stone water features and fountains, and frost-proof pottery. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
Tamarack Casino is giving away 2 Mercedes-Benz during the $125,000 Benz or cash giveaways. Plus, players get 5 times points on video reels every Friday. Win 2 Mercedes-Benz now through May at Tamarack Casino.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room at the Bank Saloon. Coverage of the 2021 Nevada legislative session is brought to you by Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. Ahern Rentals is ready for your next project. Liberty Dental Plan, making members shine one smile at a time. And Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with George Harris. He's the chairman of Nevadans for Sound Government and also publishes Liberty Watch magazine. If you want a free copy and then subscribe, George at libertywatchmagazine.com. George at libertywatchmagazine.com, and he will send you a free copy and then you can subscribe. Okay, we've only got a minute or so here. In the governor's race on the Republican side, now you have John Lee, you have Mark Hutchison, you've got Mark Amodei, who you mentioned, and you've got Joe Lombardo looking at it as well. How does this end up? If you have too many Republicans, then they're going to kill each other before you ever get to the general.
Well, Mark Hutchinson can't get out of a Republican primary because he was a never-Trumper. And the Trumpers in Nevada are loyal. So, and Dean Heller's named. I think Dean just dropped out because he knows he can't win. I don't think Joe can beat John Lee. Look, John Lee he just changed parties from a Democrat to a Republican, but all the Republicans know that John Lee was a Republican. He switched parties because when he wanted to run for assembly, they told him he wasn't the right gender. And he has single-handedly saved North Las Vegas from financial ruin. Very, very smart guy. And that's probably the horse that's going to happen. If Amodei gets in the race, it's no one knows. But I don't know if Mark's going to get in the race. So John Lee right now is the absolute front runner in that race.
And that's where we have to leave it. George Harris, I will see you in Las Vegas in June. Looking forward to it.
Sam, thank you for having me, and I hope you have a great day. And everybody out there, it's George at libertywatchmagazine.com. Send me an email, and I'll send you a free copy of the magazine. Thank you.
George, thank you. And we'll be right back. Brian Culpa Photography was born in the rolling hills of Massachusetts, and now he can help you experience the stunning beauty of Nevada in a whole new way through the power of flight. Flying has always been a passion for Brian, and at Brian Culpa Photography, he can make your imagination soar. Brian has the creative mind and tools to tell your unique story. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com. As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's Development Company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's Development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
We'll see you on the next broadcast, coming to you from the Bank Saloon in Carson City. See you then.